mainly because I've had to stay up late transferring all stuff from one email address that will soon be disabled to another email address. And there is a deadline, or else everything will be lost. Or potentially lost. So, it's like changing all your accounts and... Oh, I'm not even done yet. I have like one day today. I have like today. So, tending to get up just a little bit later. Today, bug fixes. Coding. So, at the very beginning here, we'll play a game or two, but today we're going to be looking at the code. And there's a lot of bug fixes that we want to do today. And we'll see how many we can get done. Sometimes a bug fix takes 10 minutes. And you're like, yeah! And then we might encounter a bug fix that takes the whole rest of the time today. But they need to get done. You need to fix bugs. I got too many. And then part of the bug fixes sometimes turns into like a feature. So as you fix a bug, you're actually making it a feature of something that ought to be working, and it's not. And you're sort of just, you know, sort of just not doing it. So that's why we're doing bug fixes today. We want to make sure that parts of the game aren't getting out of hand, and we haven't done coding in a little while. So what bug fixes are we going to do today? Well, what we're going to do is take a look at our magical list of tasks. So, one bug fix that we see all the time is what I like to call the sprite sheet glitch. So if you have a combo of 8 or greater, it is displaying a wrong sprite sheet because it's looking for a location past the sprite sheet that it's supposed to be on. So that would involve doing some art or completely refactoring the way we do explosions in the game. Some other ones that we can do are fixing this index out of range for high scores in gauntlet mode. When you're restarting a level on controller, it skips the middle screen. That's a pretty straightforward one. There's some clipping here. Those will be challenging. This one, and then this one. So those are the main bugs we'll be taking a look at. There's also some stuff you can call UI bugs. So if we go here and we're going to our options, it looks like this. Now, this is just a black box issue, right? So if I move the black box behind the options, it's just not centered over here. The menu itself completely works. Now we have Controls keyboard, and you can see that even here, the text is not lining up with the icons. And you can see it says stuff like weapon slots and things. All of this was for the action platformer Blister Blight. So we would also need to completely refactor the keyboard controls, because in this game, you don't have all of these things like jump and exit. Well, exit, I guess, is the back button, but most of these you don't have. So this is more of a refactor of this menu. Gamepad's the same, it just shows different icons. And then the audio we've been changing, so to turn on and off the music, make it louder, softer. I'll just finish this demonstration with the bug in gauntlet mode. So we haven't shown much gauntlet mode on stream, but I went and tried to display the high scores. I currently have Visual Studio up, and as you can see, I get an index out of range exception. It's supposed to list the top 5 high scores. Somewhere in here, depending on if maybe I have more than 5 high scores or something like that, but I don't know. I haven't looked at any of this stuff yet. So that's what we're going to do. So at the bottom of the screen, we're just going to choose a bug and do it. The one I want to do the most is the sprite sheet glitch. It might take the whole time. So the big question is, do we get a thing that we can get out the door in 10 minutes and said we did it, or something that would take like the whole next hour and a half? Let's show what the sprite sheet glitch is. And then we'll look at how to fix it. So I'm actually at the bottom. I'm going to be here. We have bug fixes. And current bug. We'll put the sprite sheet glitch. Bottom there. So if we go into image mode. I encountered this with some levels that have too many bricks. And by too many bricks, I mean it gives you the opportunity to get a really high combo. So we're doing this with Garble Grid. So I will intentionally get my combo up. If I hit lights. Oh my gosh, I have this sound going here too. Alright. Alright, so now we're at combo level 7. The next one we're going to get the sprite sheet glitch. And it's right here, right? There, you can see it. See how there is a different sprite showing up? Blister Flight. And a little guy. We can even get to combo level 9 with this last one. There you go. So, here's Blister Blight. We're going to turn off our sound. Ah. Why I clicked? You know what? I think that's another glitch. I clicked enter to do resume. It closed the menu, and in the same command, it decided to go to the next level. Write it down. If you close the pause menu, resume, and then you're at the end of a level, it will carry over and do whatever the next prompt was. Next level. Press. There's a lot of these. Great. Let's go back. Well, I don't need to show it again. You saw the sprite. So why is that happening? So what I need to do is pull up the sprite sheets, which you're going to be working on today. Where are they? Art? Art? Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Am I in the wrong one? There we are. Art. Sprite sheets. There we go. And which one is it? I don't know. I'll just open one of them. We're going to see behind the scenes of the sprite sheets. Ooh. Ooh, it'll be public forever. Ooh. Okay, I gotta share GIMP. Gimpo. GIMP. There it is. Ooh, a sprite sheet. Okay. I don't think this is the right one. Here you can see the backgrounds we have for the different images. That's the wrong one. Let's see here. Well, we can look at the code and see what's being generated. And we can see where the explosions are coming from. So the explosions are a effect that happens when a platform is destroyed. So I think it happens in the platform class, but I think there's also something called like a platform explosion. Let's see if I remember. So we're going to go down to dying. So there are different life states, and I need to hide GIMP. There it is. So if platform state is dying, it is going to do these animations. So we have a destruction big one and a smaller one. Now I don't think, forget if this is relevant here, if this is also something from Blister Blight. You can see there's a size multiplier. That size multiplier is dependent on the nuclear feature, where if you have bigger bricks, they're going to have bigger explosions. And it's just drawing this explosion animation. Now, what is the explosion animation? And you can see it's also centering this explosion animation. So we have a rectangle here. It's setting the x coordinate. And it's subtracting the size multiplier. And it's doing the same for the y. So it's trying to center the explosion over the brick. And we're going to see why that's the case in a second. So these animations are being set, I think, when the platforms are being placed down. Let's see here. Nope, we're actually doing it right here. Because every platform is going to have their own destruction animation. I think I actually set this though to be custom when because it need to be different colors depending on the color of the brick, and that color can change, which I think when I switch colors, yeah, so whenever we change colors, and changing colors can happen when you're using a different feature, the pollinators, where pollinators can shoot out pollen from little flowers and change the color of bricks. You need to change a whole bunch of animations, including the custom animation, the sprite, and then here, set destructible animation. You also need to change depending on the color here. You can see that there's different ones. I don't know why they're called metal crate and wooden crate and stuff. Why aren't they the colors? Well, they used to have things like this. But in any case, you can see there's different colors. It's fine. Now, these are all coming from our platform object spreadsheet. So let's go to the platform object spreadsheet. Okay. So we can see up here we have some things you might have seen in the game if you've been tracking along before. I have hidden GIMP, and now I'm going to show GIMP. Okay, so in the game, here are some things you've seen in the game. You've seen here the bricks, the different animations, the color brick animations. We have our portals for the wormholes. We have our lights. We have the little flowers. Flowers. A lot of this art will need to get updated, such as stuff like this and things like that. We also have a ton more here from Blister Blight, because I'm just using the same sprite sheets. I didn't create brand new ones, because, you know, you save time. So where are the explosions? Because these little guys were the minor explosions. So if you have no combo, it's just doing a little square. If I zoom out and scroll to the right. Wait. It's not here? What? No. These are just the little ones. Wait a second. Is it in the effect sprite sheet? I think it's in the effect sprite sheet. I think it's not using this destruction animation. There it is. Okay. So let's see why this is happening. And I did the easy approach. All right, so we're gonna zoom in. Hey, Revere. So what we got going on here? Yep, I am a video game developer. So today, the game I've been playing and playtesting and stuff is the game I made. So today we're gonna do some bug fixes. Now, when you have an explosion, it does a T shape. It's like a Bomberman, you know, perpendicular. So we've seen that in the game. So if I go here in the game, if I just show game again. Oh, you're making a 3D character right now. Awesome. Alright, so back to the game. Let's go to a different level. Just to, I don't know, pick a fence, sure. So right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can see, boom, you had a little cross explosion animation. And once you get to the next combo, it's bigger. So you can see there's a bigger one. Boom, like that. You can also see there's the standard explosion for the brick that you're hitting. And all the bricks that are exploding also have that explosion, a little white. You can see the white squares as well, along with the rainbow, like Bomberman-esque explosion. So, how is that happening? Well, the way that I did it was via a sprite sheet. So each of these explosions has, I think, how many frames? Let's see, we're gonna zoom out. As 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 6 frames or 7 frames. And I think again we can go into Visual Studio. Let's go to the level builder. And am I adding here? I don't think so. Yeah, here, this is what we're doing. Set destructible animation based off the destructible type. Is this even being used? It's doing like these things. Currently all switch file. This is in platform objects, not even. You ever do something in your code? Like, where am I actually doing that? I'm kind of there right now. What we can do is we can see when this triggers. So we can go to the update. There's a destruction check that just says, hey, make it dead if it's exploding. If none of them are present, destroy them. Let's see if anything else is happening here. Custom animation. There it is. So this is where it's actually updating them. If we want to see that, we can go ahead and put a breakpoint here. And just resume. Enter. So if I go bop. You know that feeling. So here's our destruction animation. We can take a look at the attributes of it. Unfortunately, I'm looking on screen. If I'm hovering over this thing, I see a prompt, you know, where it shows all the attributes of a variable. It's not showing on stream. Platform objects. So this destruction animation is the one that I was talking about here, where it's just doing a simple explosion, because every brick does a simple square explosion, and then the effect is that T shape. Had more than 1,000 lines? Yeah, it gets to that point. The level builder class here has at least 1,000, way more. No, at the bottom it says 2060. It's some. It's fine. And that's just one class. So this is not the one that's actually updating in terms of the X shape or the T shape. I think it's an effect. Oh, it is. Here. I just had a membered. Yeah, one script out of many in the game. What are you, what kind of 3D character are you modeling right now? This is doing this. Main player script. That's why. That makes sense. Destruction. Here we go. It's called a combo explode effect. Duh. This is its own class. It's called a combo explode effect. Let's go there. This is where it's coming from. Not the platform class. The platform class is just a simple little explosion. Gotcha. Standard, one body so you can recycle it. I haven't delved into 3D yet. That's a whole nother space. Maybe one day. Okay. So here you can see we have combo animations. And if we take a look at them, they're all coming from our effects sprite sheet. And I only have 7 cases. What happens when you get to case 8? We also see we have ones for each color. So here's green, blue, orange, yellow, red. And it's going to say purple, which is really cyan. And you can see that this animation initializes to the left and up of where the actual explosion happened. It is a 6-frame animation. The frames are 240 by 240. And the speed is 40. Now that's kind of an obscure number. It's not going to mean anything. But the lower this number in terms of the frame speed is how fast the animation goes. Higher number, slower animation. It's not that difficult. Nowadays, programs make 90% of the job for you. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I would hope that nowadays it would be easier than it used to be to do 3D stuff. Have you used Blender before? I've known a few people who've gotten into Blender as a popular tool for modeling, but I think that in itself is its own pretty big learning curve. So this is where it's happening. So if I'm just going to create a new sprite sheet here just to show what's going on. I made this way too big, but whatever. So what's happening is we have our explosion here. Blender for modeling, very cool. So this is our brick. It explodes, right? It goes in Unity. Yep. I started with Unity, but I wasn't there for very long before I switched to monogame, and that was like 7 years ago. But I'll probably revisit Unity at some point. So brick explodes. Then you want to do a cool effect showing you where other bricks are going to get destroyed, Bomberman style. So if, say, the effect was, let's just say, green, and it was going to do this cross, it would be like this. Creative for 2D, yep. Audacity for sound. Interesting. Yeah, I'm using Fmod for sound. Learned how to use it. Yeah, for free. Yes. Very good. There's a certain point where you just take the deep dive, depending on what the thing is, and just like give them some money. So this effect would be like this. Now, if it was a bigger explosion, you'd have like a square and go boom, 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 boom. And say it was like too high, so it was like this, like a bigger one. What I wanted to do when I first made it was a bigger one, was I didn't want to have to change the size of the base animation. So what I did is I took the largest one, which we found was a 7 combo that works right now. So we have this really big, oh my gosh, let's make this bigger. We have a really big animation, right? That's 7 by 7. And I moved the position of it out here. And that's what's happening in the code, is that, let's hide this. Right here, we are moving the position of the X and Y coordinates minus 112 in order to move it up and to the left so that the animation is centered over the middle of the platform. And the platforms are 16 by 16. How does that 112 work? Because 1/2 of 240 is 120, 1/2 of 16 is 8, 112 and 8 is 120. So it's centering it over the platform. And if we look at these giant sprite sheet, and we zoom out here, we can see that this is the first one, and the second one, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we look at this explosion for 7, starts off really small and then goes kapow, and then shrinks back down. They're all similar, but they all do have distinct differences. I mean, sorry for the brightness here. You can see that the animation is a little bit different depending on the cross or T-shape that is being displayed. So it works great at this point. However, what happens? This is where the bug is. Finally gotten there. What happens if you try to generate a sprite on this sprite sheet that is over here in Nowhere's Land? Well, the game is going to try to go to the next sprite sheet. So if I go to Visual Studio and we go to sprite class, which is a very base foundational class. Here, we're trying to get a sprite sheet. And there's a set number of sprite sheets right now in the game. And if we look here, we have our different sprite sheets. Some of these, again, were not being used in Switchball. And we have our effect sprite sheet. Now, I'm not sure why. But what's happening? Actually, no, I think it is going to... Is it going to animate it? I think it's going to the player. Instead of hitting the effect sprite sheet, it's going to the player sprite sheet. If we look at the player sprite sheet, I'll pull that up. It's going to be pretty comical. Here's a player sprite sheet. And you can see all these blister blade animations from the other video game. And at the very bottom left, we have our little switch balls, which I just put at the bottom. You know, if I had infinite time, I would just use brand new sprite sheets. So what's happening is somehow this sprite sheet is being called because I'm choosing a position that doesn't exist on this sprite sheet. I'm also, if you look at the method here in our combo, the default is you see being hit because the combo level is 8 and I don't even have a case for a combo level greater than 8. Yeah, it's a bunch of work. So one, it's not even hitting a case greater than 8, even though the explosions are still working somehow. And by somehow I mean because the code behind what platforms are supposed to explode is working. Because that's just based off of integers going up and rectangles getting bigger and stuff. This is simply saying that the animation is falling apart once we get to 8 or greater. Technically, I think you can get to 9. So there's 2 options to fix the bug. Option 1 is the silly option. The silly option is, see how large this sprite sheet is? Sprite sheets ought not to be this big. The only reason this sprite sheet is so big is because I'm doing these absurdly large animations where a single frame is like this. This is a frame. I'm doing frames like frame... no, the frames are going down, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah? No, they're going to the left. To the left. So this is an animation, you know. And as they get bigger, you can see it's just ridiculous how big these are. And I'm doing different ones for different colors because the feature of dynamically changing the color of an object, say you have like a clear object or a white object and you can like tint it. It's not, I've tried it that way and I wasn't getting it working. So in order for me to get the exact color I wanted, I also duplicated each of these for the different colors. So it's kind of a monkey work, kind of a hack. But it's a hack insofar as it's not elegant. It's pretty industrial. So what we're doing here, we could theoretically just take this and make it bigger, right? We could just make it all the way out here. And all we need to do is really just do another one of these. Make them slightly bigger, each one, and do an 8 and a 9. That would be the first fix that we could do. The other fix that we could do, which I think will be more challenging, but it would be more elegant, is to completely change the way that we're displaying this sort of animation. If we look at these animations here, a lot of them are pretty modular. So you have the middle of your animation right here. You have the edge, right? If we go to the next one, you have the same thing. And it's getting a little bit smaller and then goes pew to a little star. Even a tinier star right here. Look at them, just 5 pixels. Theoretically, you could have a sequence of animations that all are happening at the exact same time, such that each of these pieces are happening at a certain position, and with that, you would have far less of a sprite sheet, right? You could just put each of those pieces in their own 16 by 16 location, and then you would call each of those pieces to animate, and you would reduce this gigantic sprite sheet down to a very small area, like up here. So you can see some other effects and stuff that have been in a Switchball, but most of these, again, are in the other video game. So that would be the other option. I don't really want to do that, though. This is what we do. This is what you do when you're pretty much doing a solo video game, is you're like, all right, I could do the hard thing. I could spend hours on it. What is the benefit of it? Well, the main benefit of doing something like that is that you are not having a gigantic sprite sheet in memory in your game. So as these sprite sheets get bigger, this one is a 10,000 by 2,000 sprite sheet. Theoretically, the memory and performance of the game could lag if you're holding way too big of objects in your game. For this game, it's probably not an issue. There's really not that much in the game. So if I made this, you know, bigger, it's not going to do a whole lot. There's really not that many sprites that are on the screen at one time, and even compared to the game this was built off of, far less is going on, far less is being called. That the cost to memory and performance is negligible. The other reason why you would want to do it a different way, rather than having these big things, is simply in terms of maintenance. So if you created something that was modular, you could then maintain it easier. Because say you wanted to change the animation, well, if it was modular, you could just change maybe the top and bottom of the crosses, or you could change the middle. Maybe it wanted to be sparkly. Maybe this whole thing wanted to be redone. And someone was like, oh, I just want to refactor this, that, and edit it. Well, if you have little pieces to work off of, it's a lot easier than having to be like, okay, I'll just do it from scratch, and then you have to kind of copy and paste and make sure this is all in the exact right spot. That is the give and take. What we're going to do is do the easy thing. And it's a little bit nitty gritty. The thing about it, though, and this is the challenge mainly, is I don't have, in fact, I didn't even have the artist who did this, shout out to FXY. He, I think, created ones up to 6. And then I did my own, what I like to call Josh art, for 7. I don't think he did 7. He might have gone up to 7. And, you know, as it gets bigger and bigger, technically you could like taper the edges better, and you could make it a little bit more flashy. But you can see here, you know, there's more detailed work as in the lower explosions. There's more like differences between what the explosions look like, so it won't look as good when I'm creating the bigger ones. But that's okay. It won't break. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. I have a grid here. I can turn it on and off. The grid is a 16 by 16 grid, cyan, just because I'm used to that. What we're gonna do is we are going to basically just copy we're going to make this bigger. Of course, this sprite sheet. Then we're going to copy the green one over, and then we'll just copy it down, change the colors, and we're good to go. And we're going to create combos up to 9. I don't know if you can get up to combo 10. So what we should probably first do is see if you can get up to combo 10 before we stop at 9 and then have to do this again. So if we go back to the game, let's see. What did I do? Pause it? I did. Oh, right. I think I only have one level in the game that, or a few levels in the game that haven't been developed. Yeah, this one. So, we'll create a level. Oh, I got to hide Visual Studio. There you go. We're going to create a level that has a bajillion bricks. And get the maximum combo up. That used to be tracked on screen, but I really minimalized the UI. Look at all the bricks. Ooh, maximum bricks. And there actually needs to be a little bit of space so you can, you know, move about. Have fun. Create a little pathway like this. There you go. And we'll get to our glitch sprite sheet real fast. We'll just save this as 144. Or 143, I mean. Alright, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9. Oh man, we can get to 10. 10? No. I didn't think I was gonna have to go up to 10. Is there a way for me to do this with going to 11? Probably. Alright, let's try not to. 2. 3. 6. I'm trying like to not destroy bricks. 8. 9. 10. Alright. I'm not sure if I can get up to 11. And I can definitely get to 10. This might need to be refactored if I'm going to do another feature, which isn't going to be in the base release. And that was just something I had in mind, which was expanding the arena, but nah. So it seems like 10 is feasible if you had an absurd number. I don't know if any of the levels that I've actually made that are real even got up to 9. I think 8 was the max. But one thing you can do, well, again, this is based off of time. So there are boss levels where the bricks regenerate. So if I go to, which is the one where they regenerate the fastest? Nuclear? So these regenerate every 10 seconds. So theoretically you could get an infinite combo by waiting. However, in the official game, you're not going to have, like, the timer will only go to, like, a minute or two. So the question is, can you get it to a level that is greater than 10, legitimately? What I could institute, though, is just a rule that your combo can't go past 10. Like, I could just say the maximum combo, like, max combo is hit. Like, I just go 9 and you could say max. And, that's what we'll probably do. That way I don't have to accommodate, you know, 12 or 13 or someone, you know, doing something silly. But even this is taking a long time because of the bricks. And I won! I didn't even try to beat the level. Then again, that level will be a lot faster than 122 to beat. Yeah, let's just say the max level is 10. That'll also mean we have to do an update to change the text that once you get to 10, it just says max or combo level max or something like that. Instead of combo level 9, it'll go combo level max and it'll just be 10. Okay. That's all good. So, what do I want to do first? I guess the art. We are going to do one thing today. Hooray! I can close the game. Bye-bye. So, we're going to do some art. Let's take our sprite sheet. Canvas size. How big is this gonna be? Oh, and oh no. Oh, I just realized because they're bigger, that means the maximum size of all the sprites is gonna be bigger. Which means the whole thing needs to change. This is why I didn't do it. No. Because the maximum size right now is based off of this sprite. But if it goes to 10... I don't want to do this. Someone else do it. I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Listen to my Christmas jazz. Silence. What's playing on the radio right now? Night in Venice. Very nice. Oh boy. So, what's gonna happen? This is the current size of the explosion. So 240 by 240. 240 times 6 is 1440. Every single one is 1440 by 240 at these coordinates. What we're going to need to do is make it bigger. Why is it 240? Go back to... Oh, I need to do it this way so that it works on stream. Get better at that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 15 times 16. It's according to the calculator app. Is 240. That's why it's 240. So you have the same amount on top and bottom. So if it was a 10 size instead of 7 here, you would have 10 times 16 times 2, which would be 320, plus the middle, which is 336. So our size is going to be upping by 96, which makes sense because that's 6 times 16. So we can change the code here. Once we change the code, the game is permanently broken until we fix everything. But it's probably helpful for us to do, at least write it down. And this will help us position it better, I guess. Just keeping tabs on things. The width is also going to change. So let's just write this down. Our new width. $336 for a panel. Okay. And then we still have 6 times 36. So what is that? 6 times 36. No, that's not. 6 times 336. What? That's a big number. 12096. That's too much. That doesn't make sense. Oh, it did 6 times 6 times 36. That's just... I was like, that's way bigger. 2016, that's better. Jeez. Okay. 2016. What a year. Okay. Which means the total width of any given one is increasing by 2016 minus 1440. 576. And how many animations are there? 10? Right? It's gonna be 10 of these. So right now there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's gonna be 10. Each one is increasing. Well, you can just do 10 times this. Because there's 10 ones, they're all going to be the same width. They're just going to be different centered animations in that width. So the minimum we need is a 20,000. Do we want to revisit the idea of refactoring everything? Oh my gosh. This is 10,000. It's going to have to be twice as long. Ah. Just put your head down on your table. There's got to be a better way. I'm going to need a sprite sheet twice as big. And every one of these is going to need to be recentered. Oh, this is going to take a lot more work than I anticipated. Oh. Because right now, all of these are centered. Even the smaller explosions are centered on the spot where it would be a maximum combo of 7, i.e. the maximum width. It's all centered on that spot. So what I think I'm going to have to do in order to make this doable is I'm going to have to do layers, which did I even do last time? I don't know if I did. So if I want to do it this way, what I will do is open up a new document and I will do the full animation there. And then I will do a smaller animation as a new layer right on top of it, centered over the same spot. And I'll keep doing that for each of these smaller ones. Once I have that, then I can go to each layer and copy what is visible, making sure that there is a reference point in the top left, and copy it all the way across. That seems feasible. Yeah. Is there a better way? Always measure twice, chop once. Sometimes measure 3 times, or 4 times, or 20 times. I guess. Most of the work will be doing the first one. The number 10. And then after that, layering them is theoretically fine. This is going to take about an hour to 2 hours to do. I have a half hour left today. We know how to do it now. We know what to do. Do we want to get it? Do we want to actually fix a bug today, though? Alright, so I know what to do. Let's go to where Excel doc, right? Oh, I just did the wrong thing. Alright. So we're focusing on, come on now. This one. Where is it? This one. Dev status. Alright. So we're gonna do a note. We have a plan. Make combo 10 as the max. Layer all new animations in a new doc. Then once they are all layered and good, move them into the official spreadsheet. That's the plan. I think I'll start that tomorrow. Because that's, I don't want to get partway through it. I kind of want to do the whole thing. So that'll start tomorrow. Let's try to do a actual one we can finish today. Like one of these. Which was the one? Similar to this. Like this one. We can do this one in 20 minutes. We'll do the spreadsheet one tomorrow. We know what it is. So we're going to move on to a different bug. And we're going to say that we're doing this. We're going to say the current bug is the screen skip. So we're going to need to get the controller for this, which I have. Currently using Xbox controllers. Which are compatible easily. Plug him in. Come on. Come on. Shh. That's fine. There we go. And we're going to go to the bug in the game. So we're going to do that. That. Start at the old video game. This is another thing that will take. This one's just straightforward though. Just takes time to fix. Alright. So now we're using a magical controller. And going in here. And where does this happen? Well, it happens in any level. So the very first time here, I can press B. Oh my gosh, hide Visual Studio. Stupid. Alright. So I can press B to hide it, and you can take a look at the level, right? You can plan out the level. That's the intent. So if I press A to start, I'm going bop, 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 bop. Now say I made a mistake and I want to restart the level. It should go back to that screen where you can look at it again. But if I press A right now, it immediately starts the level. It doesn't happen on keyboard. So if I press start and click restart level on keyboard and press enter, as you can see, look at that. It has the hide, which is interesting. Now I could try to really lightly tap it, but a tap and a hold are two different commands as inputs. So if I type this, and I just tap, still does it. What's interesting about this bug is that generally all controls for keyboard and controller are coming from the same source. So it's kind of odd why it's working on keyboard and not on controller. So now we get to look at the code where this is happening. We actually get to fix a bug. So now I'll show Visual Studio. This is happening on probably the hood. It might be showing on a cutscene though. So there's the cutscene that triggers, I think it is. There's a level start cutscene, which is that 3, 2, 1, go. During that cutscene, you of course can't interact with the game in any way, shape, or form. Before the cutscene, you can. And I think it's actually being controlled there. So if we go to cutscenes and level start scene, and you can see here, press to start, hide, and it's also showing some of those the buttons here for enter and exit. This is just the draw class, what's actually being drawn. If we go up here, we can see that this cutscene is what's being used. And there's different segments. So if you get through the first one, the second one, the third one, it does different stuff. So the first segment of this cutscene is basically getting through different scenes, I guess you can call it. I call them segments. The first one is resetting everything about the level. It's resetting the points, times, and stuff like that. The second cutscene is looking for you to press a button. So if you press the exit button, it goes and hides the sprites. So that's what we're seeing here. If I press B, or on keyboard it's backspace, hides them. Woo! Bring this back up. If I press jump, which is the A button right now, it says, hey, go to the next segment, and then it's going to start our countdown. We're going to start playing. So what's happening right now is that when I press A to restart the level, which is not here, it is carrying over to this cutscene, and it is taking the same control pressed action that the original action took. And that original action was pressing A to restart a level. Pressing A to restart a level is happening here. This is the pause menu. Pause menu lives somewhere else. So if I go to the pause menu, over here, and pause menu is down here. So we go down to the pause menu, and we see, well, where is this happening? You can see as I press up and down, it's going to different locations. And here's the restart level button. I also have down here, what happens when you press enter? Well, we're not in gauntlet mode. So the restart button does something different. But if you are on restart, this is adventure mode. This is what it does. And this is happening when you is controlled pressed. So we're actually going to Where'd that cutscene go? I have too many things open. Oh, start scene. Let's put these in 2 windows. Yeah. So this is controlled press action. Is happening 1 time per frame, 1 time per loop of the code. So it's saying is controlled pressed. And it's saying yes, go ahead and restart. Somehow later within the same loop, it's using that same action of is controlled pressed to do A. Here it says enter and jump. That's the problem. Why am I using jump instead of enter? That's the issue, is it's using 2 different controls. You want to see where these things are defined too? And this is where the bug's happening. So if we go to controls, which I don't remember where they are. I find all caps. It's input or something like that. Input processor. That's where all the controls are defined. I don't think it's this though. No. Is this? No. 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 We can just go to the controls menu. There we go. Make this bigger. Yeah. Scroll down. Blah, 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 blah. Where is the place that... is all this stuff. Keyboard controls. There's a dictionary of controls. Which I'm not... There you go, there you go, there you go. Bop. Hey, found it. It's called the controls. Wait, I was looking for that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So as you can see, there's a button for jump and a button for enter. These could be different. If we go to where these are set up, which I think is a little bit further down. Here we go. So the defaults. This jump and enter was relevant for the action platformer Blister Blight. Here there is no jump. For keyboard controls, you can see that jump was the space bar and enter was the enter key. For Blister Blight, both jump and enter were the A button. Because it made sense, right? You press A to jump, and then when you wanted to go through menus, you press A to do enter. The reason this bug is occurring is because the level start scene is using jump for some reason, because I just figured, hey, it's the A button, and this is using enter. Now, it is somewhat coincidental that in the loop, the pause menu is pressing enter. It's detecting that the A button is controlled pressed. In the same loop, later on, the level start scene must be later in the whole game loop. It's detecting the A button is pressed. It sees that the A button for game controls is mapped to jump, and it's going ahead and immediately starting the countdown. All we need to do is just say, hey, bud, make this enter. I think that'll do it. If we also want to double check, because this might still do the same exact thing, we could just make sure that the enter I mean, I think that should work. Because it's not going to do the same motion. We'll see if that works. I think that'll work. Whatever, let's leave the music on. The music stopped playing. Alright, so we're going to press A. We're going to press start. And let's see if it happens. So I'm pressing A on the controller now. Wait, where'd the camera? There you go. Press A. It still doesn't. I had a feeling I was going to. But if I press enter here. Oh, now they both do it. Oh. You know why that's the case? Because now it's carrying over both inputs. So this one, it's carrying over the same A button. Right? The reason it didn't happen on keyboard is because it would get to what is jump. Jump for keyboard was the space bar. Pressing enter was the enter key. Where now on keyboard, it's detecting the same button for both. So we just extended the bug to both. So in order for this to not be true, what we need to do is actually have different keys for both, or we need to fix the loop. So there's a hack solution, and there's a real solution. To this problem. Because right now both are enter, and both are saying, hey, it's happening again. Oh, and that's interesting. I didn't even think. In my mind, I've played the game so much. I didn't even realize I was pressing a different button in the menu, enter, and then when to start a level, I was pressing the space bar. It didn't even occur to me that I was doing that on keyboard, that I was using two different buttons. Yeah. So, could make them two different buttons. That would solve it. But if we want to do it for real, let's take a look at this method. It's just checking to see whether the thing's down. I've done this before. How did I do it? A lot of it was dependent on like opening or closing menus and things. To say like, oh, is this thing open? If this thing is open, then don't do it. If it is open. So for example, when I press enter on the pause menu, to restart it, it's unloading it and it's toggling the menu. And when it's toggling the menu, it's going ahead and closing it. And it's resetting it. And then it's going immediately to the start scene in the same loop. text that it's down is pressed. How do I want to do this? If we go to our main class, I think I've never unnamed game 1. Who cares? We all want to know it's the game 1 class. I'm gonna go to update. Hello. Oh my gosh. So we have our menu handler somewhere here. There we go. It's updating. In that same game press, it's going to go down. And it's going to eventually go to our core level where all those cutscenes are happening. How do I do this then? You could just say, no. You want to be able to press A to go through menus. I was gonna say, only start works. Sorry. I mean, you could set a variable to say that something's already used that input. But the whole, yeah. Yeah. I'm actually almost done streaming today. But yeah, you got to the end. Welcome. How do we solve this bug? I'm not gonna have 2 bugs that I can't solve today. Is there anything else we can check here? The other thing too is you could just wait a frame. So why else is this working? Why else is this capturing the same control press of you're using Game Makers and Blender. It is amazing what tools are free. For sure. Yeah, I'm using DaVinci Resolve for sure. I'm getting pretty adept at it, at least the basic stuff in DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, every single tool has a strong learning curve, some more than others. But yeah, it's pretty incredible what's free out there before they say, "Pay up! Give me some money, please." So what we're gonna do is this. You can make 2D assets in Game Maker. It's not a lot to work with. Yeah, that's true. Blender is hardcore. Blender is hardcore. But a lot of people who start Blender are like, once they make something, it's like, that's incredible. And then they really like, they go deep. They really get into it. What we're going to do is this. So this first segment is happening instantaneously because it gets reset. It immediately does this and immediately moves on. So this really isn't a segment. This really isn't a loop or a frame. What I can do is say if enter is not pressed, then move forward. Why does that work? Because if it is pressed, that means this is following a restart or some way that you got there by pressing A in the same frame, which means just wait till the one frame that the control was pressed. This isn't a held, this is just a press, this is a tap. Once that frame is over, then move on. So I think it's this easy. You just say, if this is not pressed, move on. Because that is going to be doing automatically. There's nothing happening here that's preventing this from going. I think that solves it. Let's try it out. One day I'm going to download Blender. And I'm just going to be like, can I make a box? I'm going to try to make a box. Boop. Hey, Tofu the Leafu. Yes, I am coding. And now we're testing out the fix that we did. The cool thing about DaVinci is you can do the basics with like zero knowledge, but yeah, there's a lot to it. A 3D donut, that's pretty sweet. All right, let's try our bug fix. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to press, just do some stuff, whatever. Now we're gonna press start. Now if I press A and it actually stops instead of restarting the level immediately, we're good. Pretty good. I think it worked. And then I press start. And I go here. I'm doing it on keyboard this time. It's that easy. Alright, we did it. So that worked. It worked because it said we're going to wait until this action is over from the pause menu before we automatically move to the next segment after basically resetting this cutscene. And then we'll check to see if you're pressing A again or enter. And that's why it worked. And I don't know, leave a comment in here. Delaying a frame so that the enter input from the start and pause menu does not. Ta-da! We did it! We fixed the thing! Hooray! Woohoo! We did one thing! Done. And we did a lot of planning for like an hour for the sprite sheet glitch, which we're going to try to do tomorrow. Because that'll take about an hour at least to actually fix. But I'm going to stop right there for today. Thanks for all who tuned in today. Even for those who tuned in the last 10 minutes, like Tofu and the theology and imagination, as well as Robier 2 and any others who did not chat today. Appreciate it. Tomorrow we're going to be doing some more bug fixes. When we're going to be in a sprite sheet, we're going to be doing some art And gotta make the game work so that when people start playtesting, you know, they don't encounter bugs. It's nice. Thanks for all who tune in later on YouTube and Twitch. I'm going to try to start streaming at 10 instead of 11, but it's been hard for all the reasons. But it's all right. A little bit each day. Just a little bit each day, creatively. Just need to make a little progress each day, and stuff gets made. So, a little bit of encouragement there. As always.